Welcome, everybody, to episode 110 of Disney with the Ducks. Tonight, you've got me, John Crawl, and I'm joined by Jodi.
Hi, friends.
And it's just the two of us tonight. So you're going to get a lot
Just the
of
two of us.
building castles in the sand. Isn't that how that goes?
I don't know.
Just
You could totally make up the lyrics, and I'll agree with you
I don't know where this is going, but we need to get this thing back on track here.
already.
Yeah, we're not even a minute in. So it's just John and Jodi tonight. And before we get into some of the opening questions and that kind of thing, we just want to ask everybody to go out, give us a 5-star review. Make sure you're writing some good comments too, and we can read those on a future episode. But yeah, it really helps us if you go out and do that, and then you want to share the show with some friends, and then you can come over and join our Facebook group, Disney with the Ducks. And that's a fun group where I think we have around 500 people, and there's good engagement and interaction. It's a fun, one of the fun, positive places on the internet that you can go visit. So if you can go do those things for us, pause it, and then come back and let us know you've done them. That's great. And now that you've gone and given us the review, our question tonight to get to know each other is, what is your favorite vacation that you've taken in the last 5 years that's non-Disney related? So, Jodi, what's been your favorite family vacation you've taken in the last couple of years?
Non-Disney related. So it can't be Disney
Non-Disney,
cruise, can't be anything Disney related.
right?
Okay. So in the peak of the pandemic, we had a trip booked out west. We were going to do Grand Canyon, Sedona, Zion, all that great stuff. And we really had to figure out if we were going to do it or not. It was July of 2020. So before vaccines were out, all that stuff. And we really had a lot of time to think about it and figure things out. And the national parks had reopened, and we kind of thought that maybe it was a once in a lifetime opportunity because everything would be so sparse and not uh, greatly impacted by crowds because nobody else was traveling, that we decided we would try it. We wore double masks. We had more hand sanitizer than anybody ever should carry. We carried Clorox wipes. Like literally, we would walk in the hotel room. I wouldn't let anyone touch anything. I would wipe everything down before anyone touched anything. Like we were crazy, but we were outside almost the vast majority of the time. We were hiking and biking and rafting and canoeing and doing all this outdoor adventure. So we decided to take the trip, and it was really absolutely phenomenal. The Grand Canyon, I could look from where we were standing and it would be like 3 football fields away till we found the next human because nobody was there. And I don't know that you're ever going to get that again. We did a tour with a Native American who sung to us in his native tongue and told us all the stories of his land. Like everything was just so unique and so personalized and just us and like one tour guide. We hiked through the slot canyons, like everything was just really cool. And it was not cool in temperature because it was blasted hot, but it was just special because so few people were traveling, and I think they were just extra appreciative of the fact that we were there and we were just taking such precautions. We were taking risk, we realized that, but we also kind of did the risk and reward analysis and thought that it was a good idea to go ahead and try it. And really ended up being a fantastic vacation, and just special and unique, and one that I know we'll never be able to repeat because we're never going to have an opportunity like that ever again.
Well, we hope we never have an opportunity like that
Yes,
again.
please, not going to. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome, though. That sounds like it would be such a cool trip, because
It re-
national parks and some of the outdoor stuff is so awesome and
yeah,
usually cheap and fun. And yeah,
cheap,
well,
but yeah, but
okay,
I mean,
but
even gas stations, we would take hand wipes and wipe things down before you
yeah.
because we at that point in time you didn't really know how things were being we didn't really know it was all airborne or how it was spread and all that. So we were we were so cautious on everything. But like I said, because so much of our activity was outdoor and we did a mule ride, and I mean we just did so many really cool things. It was we missed out on some things because things were closed down, but the experiences that we did have We got lost on a hike and the kids almost killed us. That was great. Like, you know, were just great memories. I don't know. We played a
Yeah.
lot of cards and games because, yeah, in the evening you would just be in your hotel room and got a lot of carry out to be safe, to be like eat with us. And I don't know, it was pretty awesome. So
That sounds really cool. Man, I think mine was we went to Gulf Shores last summer, so it was my second trip with the kids after Katie passed. So the first one though, Katie's mom came along, so I had some help for at least a few of the days. So this was my first driving over 1,000 miles and taking all the kids with me to a vacation destination all by myself with nobody else I knew within several hundred miles probably. So it just went amazingly well. I mean, we had a great drive there and back. That was really nice. The kids are do really well in the car for the most part. So, we just drove as far as we could, went to Bucky's, and of course the kids come out of there with $8 million worth of stuffed beavers and towels with a beaver
as
face
one
on it.
does.
Yeah. It's just uh so, but that I think, just the whole drive down. And then we got down there and we had a condo that looked right out onto the Gulf and it was just beautiful. And the kids played at the beach a ton that trip. And that was one thing our family's just never done. We've never been a beach family because I get too bored. And, we get to the beach, see the water, jump in, and okay, that was fun. What's next? But this trip, we didn't really have anything else to do. I mean, we went to the beach and my older daughter wanted to like tan and we'd play catch with the football and Crosby would build little sandcastles with the girls and everybody just got along, which was amazing. And then we found some really cool restaurants and hangout spots down there too. So we did a lot of fun family stuff like that where, we played putt putt and went to this like outdoor venue that had a concert venue and a restaurant and they had foam parties going on for the kids. It was super cool. And so yeah, that and then Lulu's, which is Jimmy Buffett's sister's place down there. It's so cool. The food is amazing and then you have this whole like adventure area outside where they have ropes courses and volleyball and all kind of cool stuff. So yeah, I think that would probably be it because it just went so well and it really like just let me prove to myself that I could survive taking the kids on a trip, which was, that's what I needed to do. So yeah, so I think that would be it. So that's why we asked this question tonight. That was going into what we're going to be talking about this evening. So a few weeks ago, Jody and your family went down to Disney it was spring break, right?
Spring break, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So you guys were going down to Disney. So it's the whole family, right?
The four of us.
Yeah. No, we're not bringing along friends or grandparents or anything.
We met up with friends, but no grandparents,
Okay.
no siblings, no anything else. Just our
Yeah.
core four. So
Okay. It seemed like you met up with a lot of people on this trip,
we
just following
did.
along your Facebook posts, and that's awesome.
We
Just,
did. It was
I,
so much fun
yeah.
to see friends. That was a blast.
That's awesome. And that's what's so fun about like people in the Facebook group or, lizards and stuff like that when other ones are going to be down there. And try to meet up and just hang out cuz I think that's how all of us got to know each other anyway was stuff like that, right? Just Facebook groups and you kind of get to know people and then finally take that next step and meet in person. So, that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely.
Um all right. So one thing I wanted to talk about the last part of your trip first because it made me super excited. This is a part of Disney I've always wanted to go to and we just never do. So I really want to talk about your last day. What did you guys do that last leg of your trip?
Yeah. So we started our trip on Friday, March 29th, and we are at Disney World, the first part of that trip. But then on Thursday, pardon me, not March, April 4th, we got in the car, surprised the kids, didn't tell them where we were going, and packed up and drove about an hour and a half, I'd say, maybe a little less than that, southeast of Walt Disney World, and we went to Vero Beach. For those of you who don't know, Walt Disney World has all the parks. They have Disney and Disneyland and Tokyo and Shanghai and all that great stuff. But they also have three properties that are not park related. As far as I know, it's only those three. Vero Beach, Hilton Head, and Alani in Hawaii. And since we've become Disney Vacation Club members, we're like, well, points are fun. Let's see what we can do with our points. So we just knew we were gonna spring break was gonna be really crazy at the parks, and we wanted just a day. We being Tim and I, because again, the kids didn't know what we were doing. We decided we just wanted a day to relax and chill after the craziness of the parks. And that is exactly what we got. Uh, so Vero was not a bad drive. Well, I don't know. Tim drove. I read a book, but so it didn't seem like a bad drive to me. That morning, I got up. I grabbed breakfast from the Poly. Actually, I had to go get Tonga toast. Brought it back to the room. We
Ooh,
packed up.
nice.
We got in the car. So that is one thing you will need a car. That there's no other way to get there as far as I can figure out. And we drove down there, and it was absolutely charming is the best way I could describe it. Um, we got a text at 12:25 that our room was ready, which was phenomenal. Um,
Wow.
yeah, because most DVC rooms aren't ready till 4. It's 12:25, and
Yeah,
like, you're
4 if you're lucky.
yeah. We were staying in the main buildings, so they have a main building, and then they have outbuildings, and they have buildings that are entire like little cottages you can rent out. We don't have enough points for that, so we
So
stayed in the main. Oh, go ahead.
are those like the bungalows or cabins at Copper Creek and
I
Poly?
don't know how many they sleep.
Okay.
They're not on the water. They're still in the sand, like on the land. They're not out
Oh.
on the water. They looked really cute. I haven't looked into them to see how many they sleep or what's involved with them. Um, we just wanted to stay cheap, so we stayed with the cheapest points, the studio in the actual, I guess, the hotel. You can stay there if you're non-DVC. You could just book it as a hotel as opposed to renting or using your points. But we got there and like the right at the guard stand, she was like, "Hello, friends. Like, welcome. How are you? How long are you here? What's your last name? Oh, your room's ready. Just pull on up here, and we'll take care of you." And there wasn't a long line of people. Like everything was chill. So we get in there, the cast member comes and she like sits down with me on the couch. It was so cute. She was like, "Hi, welcome to Vero Beach. Here's the map. Here's the activities. You know, what can I help? Here's where you park. What can I help you with?" I mean, everything about it was so um calming, I guess is the best word I'd explain to it. After the chaos of being at Disney World during spring break with all the crowds, all the people, this was just chill, you know? Um, and it wasn't overly Disney. So for those people who maybe are not wanting Disney to smack them in the face, there was not too much Disney. We didn't see any characters when we were there, albeit we were only there for like one day. So it's not like we spent a long time there. But they were slightly the kids, their pulled down Murphy bed had a Dory and Crush the Turtle painting on it. Um, there was pin trading available all over the resort, which was great. You could still use the app to quick service food, which was awesome. But it wasn't so overly Disney either. It had the touches and it had the service and the cast members, but it didn't have. It wasn't. It wasn't like Pop Century. It wasn't bold and in your face. Um,
Hmm. And so how big overall is the resort? Well, like what would you compare it to at say Disney World?
Gosh, that's a great question. Um, I'd say it felt like the same footprint maybe as a Pop Century. Like it's where but it has the main building and then all these other buildings and then these little outhouses. So
Okay.
maybe not even that big. It wasn't gigantic. And again, we stayed in the main building. So we didn't even go into those other but I'm not even sure if our room key would let us in there. I don't know. But it was quite nice. The room was nice. It was quite big. Actually, I was surprised how big it was. It had the refrigerator and all that good stuff, and the little kitchenette and the shower and it was one sink, which was fine. I mean, we were only there for one day, so
Yeah.
we didn't have a view, but we didn't pay for a view, so I wasn't surprised we didn't get a view. We were on the 4th floor. The room was quiet. We didn't hear anybody else the whole time we were
Hmm.
there. I think it could have used a little more decoration. Like some of the walls were a little plain. And maybe I heard they just went through a refurb, so maybe our room just wasn't done yet. I don't know, but the only thing I'd say is the cast members were absolutely so incredibly nice. Like they were just really welcoming and very kind, and everybody was just down to earth and really really chill.
So it kind of fits the vibe then of the whole resort, or helps create the vibe, really, probably.
Yeah,
Um, that's awesome.
yeah.
So one question I have about it is, so you said you're in the main building, and I assume it's like a little bit back from the beach, right? But are you very close to the beach? Is it a short walk, or?
Oh yeah, it was uh, maybe quarter of a mile? I mean, hardly anything, like, you just walk down this little pathway and you're right
Yeah.
there, and security-wise, I will say, I felt really good. If you had little kids, you would feel very confident about having them with you. You couldn't access the beach without a room key card. It wouldn't even let you through the gate, so you wouldn't have to worry about it like a kid wandering down there without a parent noticing, and you couldn't get back on to the property without a room key card. So strangers along the beach, not that there were very many people, but they couldn't get back on the
Yeah.
property either. So I felt very,
Okay.
very safe about all that. Just those little touches that Disney thinks about when there's kids involved, I really did appreciate. Um, but yeah, so when you walked out to the beach, there was like a little pier and a little ramp that you walked down, and
Hmm.
you had to touch your card to get beach access. And you can rent cabanas, or pardon me, lounge chairs and umbrellas. We chose not to do that because we knew we weren't there too terribly long for the day. So we thought, well, we'll just grab some towels, and we wanted to walk on the beach. And we walked quite a while, and I don't know how long that beachfront goes. It just seemed to go and go and go and go. And
Wow.
there were just not a lot of people out there. Now, again, it's the beginning of April. Maybe it's too chilly. Maybe the crowds weren't out. I don't know what it's like in the
Yeah.
summer, but it was really empty and very quiet, and you had plenty of space to to play and stretch out down there.
Oh, that's cool. So with I know you went in the spring instead of summer. So was the water temperature there where you could go swimming at the beach, or is that just a little
So,
rough?
let me start off by saying, we're kind of like your family. We're not like big, huge beach people. One person in our family is, that's Landon. He loves the beach. So he was immediately like, let's go in the water. Let's have fun. He got in. I think it could have been -20 and he would have gotten in. He was jumping in the waves and having his best time. Lindsay got up to maybe her knees, and Tim and I were perfectly content just walking up and down the beach. So
Okay.
it was pretty chilly. It was not warm. I will also say there's been a lot of questions on our Facebook group about the bugs there. Apparently, there in that area, there's a big problem with the little critters. They're called no-see-ums, and per their name, you don't see them. But the property had this lotion that you could put on all over the place. Like it was and every countertop, every service, if you wanted to put that lotion on to prevent the no-see-um bites, you could. Apparently, they hurt and they're not very enjoyable. None of us had an issue with it, but none of us used lotion either. And we were
Hmm.
fine. Again, could be the time of year we went. I don't really know. So
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's a good tip to know about the lotion being around too, because yeah, if you didn't know that was there, and that could ruin a vacation, having a
yeah,
bunch of
they
stink
actually
bugs.
in the paperwork when she was sitting down on the couch talking to me about everything, kind of showing me the lay of the land, they gave you an entire piece of paper all about the no-see-ums and told you where the lotion was and how to use it, and they were very upfront about it. So it's not like they were trying to
Okay.
hide it, like, "Oh, yeah, we have this thing."
Yeah.
Like, they were straight up about it.
Hmm.
So, um,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Now, I know there they also have a bunch of sea turtles, right? And that's where they do some of their breeding and stuff. And I
Yeah,
don't know what time of year
so
that was, but
yeah, so they do have some different turtle things going on. Unfortunately, it wasn't right when we were there, so we couldn't
mhm,
participate. They are very strict though about certain things. There are posted signs everywhere about the turtles and the nesting. They also ask that you make your room dark and shut your blinds and windows after 9 p.m.
hmm,
So the turtles don't think of that as a light source, that they go towards the ocean. They were very really informative about the sea turtles, and their, going out to sea and all that. There was a lot of information. There were signs all over the place, like little, like information signs that you could learn more about it. I really wish we could have been there a little longer to do some of the activities. They had a whole list of activities going on,
Hmm.
different things going on in the community hall and information sessions. There was a wine tasting Tim was trying to talk me into, but I was like, no,
You
we're only here
resisted
for
that?
we did,
Oh,
because we were only there for one day. I'm like, we need to do all the things. Um,
oh,
so there was movie on the grass. I will. The only other thing I'd say is I regret not bringing some sort of a ball to toss or play. They had this gigantic grassy area that would have been really fun to kick a soccer ball, throw a ball, Nerf ball, whatever, or to take it out on the beach. We just didn't think that through. There are a lot of kids out there playing. I'm sure Landon could have asked one of them if he could have played, but he didn't.
yeah.
It was just it was just there were lots of teenagers there. They were all seeming to have a really great time. I don't know, everything there's included in your stay was mini golf, shuffleboard, uh, like the pool was incredible. The slide was killer. This had a killer slide. It was so fast. It didn't do it just went in circles, but it was so speedy. Landon and I were like, "Shoom," right in the water. I mean, it was, and we
Mhm.
judge the slides. We rank them, and this one was pretty high up there. We were giving it a top 3, and that's,
Really?
yeah. And
Wow.
we're pretty hard on the slide. So
That's pretty awesome, though.
yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool.
Nice.
I
That's really
definitely think you could spend 3 to 5 days there and have plenty to do. Um,
wow.
we did not explore the area at all. We purposely didn't want to leave the property so we could report back on what the property was like. Um,
Yeah.
one thing I will say, the quick service was amazing. I would highly recommend everything for the quick service. It was really, really good, really fresh. Tim really loved the pool bar. He and the bartender got along quite well. But the sit down dining was okay. It was a little disappointing. Um,
Hmm.
some odd combos, like it wasn't it wasn't spectacular. I think there's probably a lot better local restaurants that we could have gone to, but again, we
Hmm.
wanted to try everything there on property and see what it was all about. So we
Yeah.
ate
Okay.
there. So
So they just have one sit down on property there?
as far as we could see, there was
Okay.
one sit down and one quick
Hmm.
service. Now, the quick service did get really crowded at lunchtime because everybody was there.
Yeah.
But it had like make your own salad bar, but they made it. You told them like what you
Hmm.
wanted on the salad, and they made it in front of you with tons of selection. And
Oh,
the sandwiches were like our sandwich had arugula on it. I mean, hello, and like multi-grain yummy bread and everything. It was just fresh and good and
hmm.
tasty, and they had Dole Whip, so Lindsay was thrilled, and
Ooh,
yeah, they had Dole Whip.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So
Okay.
we just, I think it's a hidden gem. I don't. I I think if you've been to Disney a bunch of times and you want something different, it worked out great for us after an incredibly exhausting up early, up late at night, go, go, go trip. That was a perfect way to chill out
Hmm.
afterwards. Like I said, I think our families said that 3, maybe 4 nights there would be plenty. We feel like we didn't quite stay long enough. We wish we would have stayed a little longer, especially to see the local area.
Yeah.
But you would need a car. That's one thing you to get
Hmm.
around. So
Okay.
um,
Well, no, that's awesome because like I said before, I always look at going there and I never end up going.
yeah.
So it's somewhere I really do want to check out and maybe just add it on to the end of a Disney trip or something for a couple of nights. But yeah, that's awesome. So all right. That was the end of your trip though. So let's go back
End
to
of our
yeah,
trip.
let's go back to the beginning. All right, so you went down for spring break. What resort did you stay at Disney?
Okay, so we stayed at the Grand Floridian. We used our DVC points, and I messed up. Um, we were supposed to stay Saturday, check it on Saturday, but then we found out Scott and his family were going to be there, and they were supposed to leave Saturday. So we're like, we'll come in a day earlier so we can hang out with them for a day. So I went back on the DVC page and I tried to book one more night, and I thought that I had booked the same type of accommodations. Well, unbeknownst to me, there were two parts of the DVC properties at Grand Floridian. There's the
Mm.
Grand Floridian Villas and the Grand Floridian Resort, both DVC points. So the first night we stayed at the studio in the Grand Floridian Villas, which was an okay room, kind of small, to be perfectly honest with you. Our room was on the first floor, had a view of nothing. It was kind of, yeah, but we were there for one night, so what did it matter? Then the next 5 nights we were over at the in the resort in Big Pine Key and a studio in that portion of the resort portion. So
Oh, so are those the ones that were the recently converted from hotel rooms to DVC
yes,
room? Okay.
yes.
Did they remodel them when they did that?
I don't know what they looked like before. I
Okay.
can only tell you what they look like now. They were nice, they were large, they were pretty.
Hmm,
I preferred that more than I preferred the villas. It was
okay.
spacious. The villas had 2 showers, which I loved, but the resort side was just a bigger room in general.
Okay.
Um, I will say that neither one of them had the Murphy bed or the flip out bed, so my kids did have to share a bed, which they don't love as much anymore, but whatever. Suck it up,
Yeah.
buttercup, you have to deal with it like
Right.
you're on vacation. Um, they dealt with it. So the whole booking of the wrong room was kind of my fault. It did end up being a kind of a problem. I'll tell you about that the next day,
Oh,
but yeah, it was I'm glad that we tried both because now I know. Now I know what each
yeah.
is like. So,
Yeah. No, that's cool because I haven't stayed at the recently converted ones before, but the villa ones, yeah, the room. I mean, it wasn't great, but I just love that resort so much.
yeah.
Did you
I
take
haven't stayed
advantage of
there
any of the? Oh, go ahead.
we haven't stayed there since Tim and I were dating. So,
Oh, wow.
it's been quite some time since we stayed at the Grand and our kids have never stayed there, and Lindsay was so because we go often, we try to keep a couple things a surprise for them just to make it more exciting. She was really excited to stay there for Easter because they do a lot of Easter things. So she was super excited to be at the Grand Floridian for Easter because they had the Easter eggs and all that stuff. So
Yeah, that is really cool because they have all like the hand painted ones and stuff, right?
oh, they were gorgeous. But
Yeah.
I didn't know that the Contemporary had that too. I until we had brunch
Oh,
at the Contemporary, I had no idea. So they had some too.
yeah. I don't think I've never stayed at the Grand or the Contemporary at all. But hmm,
So
yeah, that's a really cool. But that's one of the really cool things about the Grand Floridian in general is they do such a great job with like at that, and then at Christmas having the gingerbread house and everything. It's just they do everything so
we saw
well there.
so many brides. Every day there was a bride.
Oh,
Every single day. It was so fun to be like, "We saw a bride, we saw a bride, we saw a bride," and they'd be out at, like, 8 in the morning because they would I
uh,
guess they were doing, like, weddings in the middle of the night at Magic Kingdom or something, and then doing the reception.
oh,
Yeah, because they do the weddings at, like, 1 and 2 in the morning because the parks are
for
closed.
reals?
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa! So you can actually get married there?
Yeah,
That's
you can get
amazing.
married in the Magic Kingdom, so that was
Wow,
really cool
I
because
didn't know
Lindsay and I love fairy tale weddings, so we've watched it all the time, so that was really cool to see all the brides, so
Hmm,
but
all
we saw
right.
brides daily.
Well,
Not the
that's
same bride, different brides, but
hopefully also different grooms.
I would hope. We'll see, I don't know. I didn't see
Okay.
many of the grooms, but anyway.
Yeah.
So we arrived Friday, March 29th, got the rental car, went there, stayed in the villas. Our room was ready at 3:48. Awesome, got ready, grabbed the car. We actually went to Coronado that night for dinner to go eat at Toledo.
Oh.
Um, Tim and I have eaten there twice. We've loved it both times, and this time was good. It wasn't spectacular, and I
Mm,
think the reason why is our server was just meh. Like she was kind of
mm,
like, "Here's your food." Like, there was no interaction, and the server behind us was so fun. We could hear him talking to the table and engaging with them. We're like, "Can
yeah.
we trade? He seems great. Like he seems so fun." But Landon and I will tell you this, Landon decided he was starving, and so I wanted the scallops that night, but my 13-year-old was hungry, so we split the chef's signature dinner for 2. And if you've not heard of this, I wanna talk about it for those of you who, could be interested. It's $155 for 2 people, and it includes a appetizer of 4 little mini appetizers, which were like mussels and tuna and a fig and honey thing and like maybe a potato thing, I forget the other one. Then you get a charcuterie board. Then you get a 32-ounce ribeye, something gigantic, a gigantic ribeye with 2 sides that you get to pick. We picked the Brussels sprouts and the whipped potatoes.
Ooh, Brussels sprouts.
The Brussels sprouts were some of the best I've ever had, and then you get a dessert. So for
That's not bad.
$155 for 2 appetizers, a huge gigantic steak with 2 sides and dessert, I mean, I was
That's
like,
not
"That."
bad, actually,
And of
yeah.
course, like, our family split the appetizers and the dessert, so, really it was just, like, the main course, and actually, Lindsay ate most of the Brussels sprouts, so, um, but
Huh.
it it was re now, ribeye's not my favorite cut, but, it was good. I wasn't the best meal I've had there, I think the scallops are by far the best, but, for that bang for your buck, like, I don't know that you get DVC or AP or Visa card discount.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I should look at, Toledo for
And
next
it's
trip.
just a cool environment. It's upstairs. The ceiling changes color throughout the night, like the not chandelier, but it's like this entire ceiling that just
Hmm.
changes throughout the evening. Tim thought it didn't, and then we had to take pictures throughout the night to prove to him that it really does. So
Like, "Look, it used to be blue."
no, it's because it's like an orange to red to pink. It's not,
Right.
but anyway, so that was awesome. We ended up It was just a great meal. Like I said, our server was fine. Unfortunately, it wasn't fabulous, but we all really
Mm.
liked our food. And again, the prices there are reasonable. Like I think their fillets are like 36 bucks as opposed
Oh,
to
it's like a
some
normal
places
restaurant.
like 56 or whatever. So
Yeah.
anyway, so then we went back. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, so the server situation, do you think the jealousy over the other table's server impacted your taste buds, to where this wasn't, it would have been the best meal you've ever had if you had that other server?
I, you know, I think
Yeah, you sound like it, yeah.
servers can make or break. So yeah, I'll put it this way. So in the, charcuterie board, they had a little bit of blue cheese. I love blue cheese, and I think blue cheese and steak are an amazing pairing. So they went to ta she went to take the charcuterie board away, and there was a tiny little blue cheese. I'm like, "Oh, no, no, I'm gonna keep that blue cheese for my steak." Like, a great server would be like, "Oh, let me just
Let me
bring you
bring you, yeah.
more out for your steak." I mean, when I was saying a tiny little bit, it was half a size of a penny. That's how much I was keeping of this. It was so tiny, but I really wanted that tiny little blue cheese, and she just was like, "Eh, whatever, see ya." Like, I mean, again,
Huh,
I don't need them to become my best friend, but
yeah.
she just wanted nothing to do with us. She was just there to give
Mm.
us our food and take our order. But we made up for it because later that night, we went to Enchanted Rose. I've never been to Enchanted Rose. You've been there.
Yes, and I love it, but I went by myself, and I still loved it, though.
Okay, where did you sit?
Like, right when you walk in, you know how the bar goes around? I sat, like, right there, right when you
Okay,
walk in, 'cause it was pretty full
so
when I went.
that night was an absolutely gorgeous night, like low humidity, kinda cool in the air. Um, so we wanted to be outside. I had no idea that they had an outside patio. So we go to the outside patio and, Lindsay went to bed because Lindsay had gone to school that morning and taken a really big AP pre-calc test. So she was done. She was like, I want to go to sleep. So Lana, Tim, and I went to the bar and we met up with Scott and his family and their friend Beth, who was awesome. And so we went out with them and we had this server who made up for our server at Toledo. This server was so much fun. His name was Mark, but he was wearing a name tag that said Matt, and he has a twin brother named Patrick. So we were calling him Patrick Mark Matt all night long, even though his name's really Mark. And we got a selfie with him, and he's going to be on the, I don't know anything about golf, but he's on the PGA amateur pro something tour. Like he's trying for something with PGA. I don't know. Those are words I don't understand, but
He's an amateur golfer?
maybe something like
Oh,
that. Trying to become pro. Is that something you do? I don't know.
you
I
do if you wanna be a professional, you have to try to become a professional, that's true.
well,
In any line of work, really, but it's
and
golf.
drinking and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was great. He was so much fun. He recommended great drinks. We just had a super fun time with him. He really turned the server situation around. So if you go to Enchanted Rose, his name is really Mark, but if you tell him, "Hey, we hear your name is really Patrick Mark Matt," he'll think it's hilarious and he'll know you were with us. So he was awesome.
Nice. Now what did you get to drink? What was your favorite drink you had there?
So that night I got because we were there 3 different times.
Oh, well, you should be because it's an excellent bar.
Yes, and again, it was the first night of vacation, we were
Yeah,
outside, the weather was
yeah,
amazing, we had full bellies, like, I think I got a
with
French cheese
friends.
that night, yeah, we
Yeah,
we really
it's
had
like
a
the
great
perfect
time.
evening.
It really was. We were missing Lindsay, but I get it, she was beat, so,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm,
super fun, so,
that's
great
awesome.
first day.
Okay, so that was the day you arrived. So the next day, Saturday the 30th, you're
Right.
moving over to the other side of the Grand Floridian?
So,
Okay, so how'd that go?
we not great. So, we we got up at 6 we left the room at 6:15 in the morning because we're trying to rope drop Animal Kingdom. So we dropped our
Oh,
luggage off at the Grand Floridian front desk, and, we're like, "We'll see you later," that all worked out okay. We get on the bus to go rope drop Animal Kingdom. We got to Animal Kingdom at 7 in the morning, went straight to Flight of Passage, um, just kept walking right through, always, early bird gets the worm. We went from there to Navi, went from Navi to um, get Jeff's Kusafari. Is that the name of it? The place with the giant
cinnamon
cinnamon
roll?
roll. And Lindsay got some coconut coffee thing that she was all excited about. That she
Mm,
was like, "I've been trying to try this," and so she was excited. Then we went straight to Safari. Safari was amazing. Like again, walked right through. Maybe a 20-minute wait at best.
wow.
Um, we were done with Safari by 9, 10 a.m.
So, did you have, like, early entry or anything
Yeah,
from
so because we're staying on property, I think early entry that morning was technically 7:30, but they let us in at, like, 7:10. They typically do let you in at least
early?
15 minutes earlier, if not earlier, so that's why it's nice to get that jump start on everyone.
Mhm.
Um, so, yeah, we after Safari, we grabbed some Starbucks, we, did single rider at Everest, we did Dinosaur because that's closing, went back to Pandora, grabbed some lunch at Satui Canteen, and I mean lunch, it was like 11, 11:10, um, and then we were like, "Well, we're tired, let's go back to the resort." Of course, we were homeless, right? Because we had checked
Yeah.
out that boarding. And we knew we were probably gonna be homeless for a little while. We expected that. We had a bag packed with beach clothes to go sit at the pool. We did not anticipate being as homeless or without loungers as long as we were. The
Hmm,
pool was packed, and there are 2 pools at Grand Floridian, and both of them were packed. We could not find a chair or a lounger anywhere, not one. We're a family of 4, we couldn't find one.
wow.
Um, and what's annoying is people put their stuff on the loungers or the chairs, and then they don't
Yeah,
use them, and I really wanted to be like, "Dude, please, can we just lay down here for a half an hour? Like, please," but,
yeah.
um, s I don't know, just be respectful of others, I guess, is my tip there. Try to be aware of your surroundings. Tim and Landon ended up finding a table in the quiet pool in the shade, so not a
Hmm,
lounger, but at least a table. So they just kinda sat there and watched sports and, um, at least they couldn't sleep, but they weren't in the sun. Lindsay and I found one lounger and then somebody left and we found another lounger in like the kids splash zone because that was the
hmm,
only place that had a lounger. So she and I stayed out in the sun for a little bit, but it was really, really, really crowded and there just wasn't any place for us to go.
hmm.
Um, and of course, the time that you want your room ready early, guess what happens?
It was early?
No.
Oh, that's sad.
Not early at all, and, no place to go, and it was 3:45, and I finally went up to the front desk like, "Hey, I know check-in's in 15 minutes, like, is there any room at all? Like, we checked out of here at 6:15 this morning from the other resort, like, the other side, we just gotta get over to this side." I'm like, "Yeah, no, we're doing an inspection to make sure it's clean enough." I'm like, I at this point in time, I don't care if it's clean enough. We're so tired. And we had to be dressed and out the door for dinner at 5 o'clock because we were going to Flying Fish that night. So now it's going on 4 o'clock. We still don't have a room. Our room was ready at 4:26.
Oh,
So now we have so the
you have
only
34 minutes.
Yeah. The only smart thing that Tim and I did is we went to Bell Services and grabbed our luggage because we knew we would at least be staying in Big
Oh,
Pine Key, and there's a nice lobby there, so we at least, like, made it that far, like, drug all of our stuff over there. Plus, we had also gone to the grocery store that day, so we had waters and blueberries and all this other nonsense. So at least we made it that far, so we're like, "Okay,
yeah.
once we get the text or the info, like, we're at least in the building." Um
Right.
so that was rough. We were pretty gosh darn tired, and, um, I regret making that mistake about the wrong stay because had I not done that, we would have had a room, we all would have had a nap, and we would have been great,
Yeah.
but, you know, we messed up. I messed up, so,
Well, Jody, we don't learn and grow unless we make
I
mistakes.
I know, I
So
know. So,
you got to go a little easier on yourself on this one.
yeah. So anyway, we could our room was on the 4th floor, room 49424. It was, looking out at the pool. It was fine. It was hot. We couldn't ever get the room cool enough. It wouldn't go below
Mm.
68, and so they brought in
Hmm.
a fan to make it cooler, which was okay. But I it was also loud. Like we could hear it was like pop century. Like I could hear toilets flushing from other
Oh,
rooms. I could hear people upstairs walking around, and I had heard that. And it was
hmm.
once that we got the fan in the room, it kind of helped block out all that other noise. So that
Yeah.
was kind of nice. But it was surprisingly loud to me at the
Hmm.
noise from the other room. So
Yeah. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, when I stayed there, we were on a first floor on a corner, and it was perfect for us because it had a little grass area out there, and we didn't have people on that side at least, so there was at least one less
yeah.
room to be creating a echo chamber or whatever around us. So, but yeah, huh? So
So
that night,
yeah, that night
flying fish.
We took an Uber to Flying Fish to Boardwalk, because we just didn't have time. So that was the world's fastest, "Let's see how we can make ourselves look presentable in 34 minutes." So lots of changing clothes, throwing on makeup, fixing hair quickly, and running out the door. It was awesome. Flying Fish was I haven't been there in 5 years or so. It was just as good as I remember. Their signature dish is the potato crusted wrapped, red snapper. It's
Hmm.
phenomenal. Our server was phenomenal. The company was great. We had a great time. We had a great meal. I don't know that there was anything I didn't like. Everything was super. I really, really, really loved everything about it and would highly recommend it if you're looking to have a special meal because it is a signature dinner, so it's not
Yeah,
cheap. Um,
yeah. Hmm.
we
So,
walked to Epcot then and watched the fireworks. Um,
oh,
yeah, I think it's a visually stunning, beautiful show. I think the music timing with the lights are gorgeous, um, but I still feel like the music is incredibly sad and a little too somber for me.
hmm,
Um, Lindsay and Emily were actually talking, both teenage girls, and Lindsay said something to Emily like, "Yikes, do we die now? Like, is that the part of the show we die?" And Emily said to her, like, "No, we have to fall in love first before we die." And like that was kind of the I actually timed it. There was about 2 minutes of upbeat song through the whole thing. It's
hmm.
beautiful. It really is beautiful, but it's just a little bit of a downer of a storyline for my preference. So,
Okay.
um,
Hmm.
as a matter of fact, um, one of our friends' friend said that she can't watch it because, she's recently lost both of her parents, and it's just not a good show for her to see. So,
Wow.
um,
I'm gonna stay away from this this show. I'm glad, and you warned me about that last week when you were down there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then because we couldn't let the night end, we went to Abracadabra, we had a lot of fun, and, yeah,
I that place is so fun.
it was so fun, but we were so tired because think about it, we had been up since
Yeah.
we had checked out of our room at 6:15 and really didn't get a proper rest in, so we were beat. So
But
we were kind of
Jody, you can sleep when you're dead.
yeah,
Life
I
is
know.
for living.
So does Luminous tell us that. So and I'm gonna just quickly skip through the rest of the days real fast because I know we're going long here, but, it was a fun night. It was top memories, top nights. We had a really good time.
That's good.
Very lucky to be with some friends and, to meet all these wonderful people in this community and spend time with people. So,
Yeah, that is such a fun place, and it sounds like you guys had an awesome dinner before that. Man. So, okay, so last couple of days then, what else
oh,
did
wait,
you do on the
real quick,
oh.
I forgot to say I saw Derry that day too.
Oh,
Derry was there with her family, and she was so sweet. She came over to the Grand Floridian to say hi when we were homeless because I was like, I don't really want to leave because I'm hoping that our room text is going to come through. I should have just left because
it didn't.
it probably would have happened had I left. So anyway, it was great to see her and her family too. So forgot to say that. So that was very sweet of them to come over and say hi.
Yeah,
So
that's so cool. That's what's so fun about, like, just like we were talking about at the beginning, just the lizard community and the duck group, just all these folks, and you can meet up and just say hi and have a drink or a meal or something. It's so much
yeah,
fun.
it was awesome.
Man. All right, so that was Saturday.
Okay.
What else did you guys do the rest of the trip?
Okay. So Sunday was Easter, and we decided that we were really not going to do a park, but we had Epcot passes and we're going to try for Guardians just in case. So I did get us a Guardians boarding group because, any chance to ride Guardians, got to take it. So we went to Disney Springs that day. We rope dropped Gideon's. That was a little crazy. We got there at 9:30 and the line was already, well, I don't know, 200 people deep or so for Gideon's. We had brunch reservations at Wine Bar George at 10:30, and I was about 5 people back when our reservation came up for Wine Bar George. So I sent Tim and the kids over there. I'm like, "This is what I wanna eat. This is what I wanna drink. Just order it for me. I'm not getting out of this line." So I stayed in line, grabbed the stuff. They went over because it's literally right next door. Um, so they got that. It was an amazing brunch, super delicious, so filling. George was there as always. It was awesome. And then we drove from Disney Springs to Epcot just to ride Guardians. So we were all in our church clothes and our Sunday best, and we went to Guardians Road, Guardians in our and all of our fancy clothes. So that was kind of fun.
That's cool.
And we finally got September, which is the last song that we needed to get all the Guardian songs. It's the song that I've wanted the most. My daughters wanted that because they sing it at camp all the time. So that was super fun. Like we were just all so excited about that, and that was great. Um,
Nice.
went back to Grand Floridian. This time we had a place to lay our heads during the middle of the day, so we all took a little snooze. We went to the pool. We went down the slide at the Grand Floridian. We ranked it about a 6 out of a 10. Not
Okay.
so we got to keep the rankings going. And then that night we did something really unique. We went to the DVC Top of the World Lounge at Bay Lake Tower and we had reservations for the Wicked Wine Down event. Um, this is a hard ticket event. You prepay it. It's $55 a person. It includes an appetizer, a drink, and a dessert. Um, you in a private fireworks showing viewing area. Um, it was at first it was we were meeting Cheryl, and her son Alec from Switzerland. We were meeting them at that event. They had booked it the same night as us on purpose. When I booked the reservation, they would not allow me to book 6. They would only allow me to book our 4 for our family, and so Cheryl had to call and book her too, but they guaranteed us that they could put us together. Well, we get there and they're like, "Well, we can't put you together." And Cheryl was like, "Yeah, so, we came a really long way to be together at this event, so, can you figure this out? Like a table of 4 and a table of 2, can you figure out a way to put us together?" Um, and magically they did.
Hmm.
So that was really awesome. The menu there is not robust, but the things we had were all fantastic. Mind you, we had only had brunch. We didn't need anything since brunch to them. We had a plant-based flatbread that I would order in a heartbeat. Tim loved it. We loved it. Everybody loved it. It was so good. The gigantic pretzels. Landon got some pork belly sliders that were really good. Lindsay got some hummus. So we each got an appetizer. The adults each got an alcoholic beverage. The kids obviously not. We went out and watched the fireworks, which for my husband is the way to watch the fireworks. He does not like the crowds. He does not like the people. There were maybe 20 other people out there with us. I mean, maybe. I mean, it was now you can't see the projections on the castle, but you get the music pumped in and the fireworks. It was awesome. Um, so the only thing that I wish they did different is um, every single one of us got a dessert, and it's that 7-layer cake. And we did not need 6 slices of that 7-layer cake. So they did box up half of them immediately and gave it to us boxed up so we could enjoy it on the rest of our trip. But like Cheryl was saying, they're not really sweet eaters. So they would have loved to have traded that for like an appetizer, even if it was just a pretzel, just a
Yeah.
not everybody likes dessert. And those slices of cake, I don't know if you've ever seen it, they're huge. Like they're substantial. They are
Well, and there's a lot of layers. I mean,
yeah,
seven
yeah.
layers is a lot.
So it was that I get. But our server was great. The experience was great. It was just nice to be with them and share an experience with them. And again, back to meeting friends. Like it was just nice to be with some friends again and
Yeah.
spend an evening with them and have a really good time.
Yeah. That's so cool. That sounds like a really neat event. And I like seeing the fireworks from different perspectives too.
Yeah, it was funny. The fireworks looked really far off to the right when you watch them that way. It was really funny. They didn't, line up behind the castle, but the
Right.
music and the timing and everything was wonderful. So,
That's
um,
awesome.
and let me zip through these next couple of days. So Monday, we went to Hollywood Studios. We were meeting with Cheryl and her son at Hollywood Studios. We had a bus issue that morning, our first of our 2 bus issues at Grand Floridian, which I have to say I was very disappointed in the Grand Floridian bus situation. The transportation was a hot mess there, and I thought for a deluxe resort, like, if I was a cash paying guest there, I'd be pretty mad, to the point
Well,
that we oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that was our biggest thing there as well because and then it shares a bus with the Poly,
Yeah,
which those are 2 deluxe resorts, and then you've got some of the lower level resorts that have a unique bus or whatever just for that resort,
yeah.
or a dedicated bus, and that's what really always got us too was it's upsetting.
Especially when you're going for early entry hours and you're getting to the bus an hour before it opens, and there were 3 Animal Kingdom buses that came and went and not 1 Hollywood Studios bus, so we were like, "Screw it." We grabbed an Uber, so, we had to pay for it, which stinks, like, that's the whole reason why you stay and you don't leave the bubble. You don't wanna pay I mean, we could have taken our car, but we knew we were probably gonna have a beverage, and we didn't wanna drive, so we took an Uber, met Cheryl and Alex, dropped with them, went off to Rise. We were off of Rise before the park opened for general guests, which is awesome. Um, got Mickey and Minnie's with like a 15-minute wait, did Toy Story Mania. Alec won. He kicked all of our rear ends. We went to Slinky Dog. We went to Tim's Lounge. We went to Docking Bay 7, which I know nobody likes, but we really do. Um,
Wait, you said something about so Tim's Lounge. So there's a corporate lounge in Galaxy's Edge, right? And that's
mhm,
what one thing for our listeners that's worth checking before you go down to Disney is if your company has any perks. Because like you guys have that. I work for GM and we have a lounge at Test Track, but we also get to ride the ride without waiting in line at all. if you work for GM. And there's other companies that do sponsorships and stuff with Disney that'll give you different perks throughout the parks and the resorts. So just something worth checking out.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
Disney Visa. If you have a Disney Visa, you get certain perks and certain character photos and things that check that stuff out before you go. Um, we rode Terror, and this was something new that I've never had before, so I wanted to share this. Do you know when you finish Tower of Terror? Let me try that again. You walk out, and then you're walking before you get to the gift shop. There's that really long. It looks like a check-in desk. Do you know what I'm talking about? Right before you get the gift shop. Like you're okay, so it's right when you walk out of the ride, and then
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay.
so there was a cast member there, and Lana and I were talking to him because they were pin trading, and he's my pin trader. So we were talking to him, and then I was like, "Oh, Lana, there's the guest book. We should see whose names are in there." And the guy was like, "Well, do you want to sign the guest book?" And we're like, "What?" He's like,
That's
"You can sign
cool.
the guest book." We're like, "You can?" So he pulled the guest book out, and Lana and I signed the guest book at the Tower of Terror.
That's so cool.
I had no idea. That was so random and fun
Yeah.
and cool, and, like and he's like, "So anytime you come back, you can look at this, like, ask to see your name in the guest book."
Yeah.
No idea.
That's so cool because that's like one of those things that Disney just has that attention to detail, and
Right,
to the point where even a guest book in a hotel ride attraction is
and
real.
then how many times have we been there and we never experienced that before? So,
Yeah.
just, the cast members, the attention to detail, that was awesome. So, that was great. So we left, went back to the hotel, we rested, we went back to Hollywood Studios at night, hung out with Wade and Shelly from Nebraska, so got more friends. That was great.
Nice.
Met them at a Baseline Tap House because gotta go to Baseline. And then we went to the we decided not to go to the Fantasmic show, but watch the Wonderful World of Animation. Have you heard of
Hmm.
this?
No.
Okay, so we're like, we've done Fantasmic a bunch of times. Let's try this instead. It's an evening show. It's projected on the Chinese theater, and it says that it is
Hmm.
a cool mashup of new, classic, and rarely seen animation films projected on the Chinese theater.
Hmm.
And I have to tell you, it was way better than I anticipated, and it was really enjoyable. Like
That's
we all,
cool.
we all really, really liked it. Like it was kind of a nice surprise, like, we had low expectations, and I mean, it's not Fantasmic, but it was really nice. It was a nice treat, so,
Hmm.
um,
That's awesome.
that night, then we had extra evening hours at Epcot, and again, this is the second time I messed up on this trip. I'm telling you all this so you don't do what Jodi did. If there are deluxe evening hours, a virtual queue opens up at 6 p.m. for you to get on virtual queue for the ride to the park that's available. Somehow I forgot about the 6 p.m. drop and totally missed it. So we could have gone on Guardians again that night, but I failed to set my alarm for 6 p.m. and we missed it. So that was kind of stinky. That was my fault for not remembering to do it. Um, and the other thing about this at Epcot, I would not, I thought the Epcot extra evening hours were the not as great as Magic Kingdoms. So we went to Frozen, and then in order to get back to Remy, they wanted you to walk all the way around to Mexico and Canada and United Kingdom, all the way to
Hmm.
France. They wouldn't let you walk past China, Japan, America, all that stuff. You weren't allowed to go that way. They cut that part of the park off. So that's crazy. Like we weren't gonna walk all the way back there. Like
Yeah.
that kind of was weird. So anyway, it was, and also there's really little food available for those extended evening hours. So don't go hungry. Somehow Tim didn't eat and he was starving and kind of cranky.
But do they give out like the Mickey bars and stuff like they do at some
No,
of the
this
other?
isn't
Oh,
hard
okay.
ticket event. This is
Oh,
just
this is just the
just the
resort.
deluxe
Yeah.
extra. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
um,
Hmm.
Um, Tuesday, we crushed Magic Kingdom all day. We went to Steakhouse 71, had brunch. John, you are 100% correct that Eggs Benedict is the bomb.
It is so
Um,
good.
we had a great server, great experience. They do not have the refillable mimosas anymore, which is what I was excited about, but they don't. Um, we wrote all the stuff. We used Genie Plus that day, and I'm glad we did because the parks were really crowded. Um,
Mm.
And then Wednesday, our last day before we left for to Vero, this was kind of a fun day. So we woke up early, we went to Epcot, and we had a disastrous morning. Like one of those mornings that you were like, this sucks. I hate this. This is not going well. So get up early to go to extra early resort hours, whatever they're called. Monorail was down. So the monorail people tell us to go downstairs and take the bus. So we go downstairs, we find the bus, and the bus, this is when I should have had an aha moment. The bus said monorail loop. And from, I don't know why I didn't put 1+1 together to figure out that it literally, the bus was going to take us on the monorail loop. So we left the Grand Floridian and we went to the Magic Kingdom and we went to the Contemporary and we went to the TTC and then they drove us to Epcot. So an hour later, we made it to Epcot. We missed the resort morning hours. At that point in time, Remy was up to like 120-minute wait. So I was mad because that's what my plans were for that morning. And I love Remy. So I kind of started off salty that day. We should have taken an Uber. We should have thrown in the towel and taken an Uber. But again, I wasn't thinking it through. Like it says monorail loop and it was going to take us to all those places.
Yeah.
So if that ever happens to you and it says monorail loop,
Don't get
bail.
on.
Yeah, don't get on. So we had a great time eating all the food, went back. We actually ended up going to La Cava with no line, no wait, and they sat all six of us because it was Tim, the kids and I, and Cheryl and her son. Had a great time at La Cava. Cheryl got a free drink. Then the kids left and played basketball, and it started pouring rain. They played basketball in the pouring rain, had a great time. We finished up, went back to Grand Floridian, met them. They were drenched, like drowned rats drenched, but they were living their best life, having the best time of their lives. It rained from 3 to about 11. And yeah, but we just kind of hung out. We went back to Enchanted Rose for the third time that trip.
Okay, good.
And then they had extra evening hours at Magic Kingdom that night. And we crushed it. We had so much fun at Magic Kingdom that night. We did Tron. We did Winnie the Pooh. We touched the honey wall for Joe just so we could make Joe proud. We did Big Thunder twice. And we did Haunted Mansion with a 13-minute wait. And the Haunted Mansion people were so amazing. Because there's no crowd, they could really get into character. They completely scared the crap out of Cheryl. It was probably the funniest thing I've ever, like when the lights, like the guy was standing on one side of her, and then when lights came back on, he was standing directly in front of her, scared the living daylights out of her. Super funny, awesome, like completely memorable. And we kept saying we wish we would have seen his name badge because we would have loved to give him a cast compliment. This kid was awesome. And then we were the very, 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 very last people to ride Pirates of the entire night. Like that was pretty cool. So empty park, super fun photos, like the extra evening. It was 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. We got back in the room at 1:40 in the morning. It was late, but it was awesome. So
that's really cool.
And I tried to speed through all that, so I'm sorry
All
that
right.
but that I was just wanted to give some of those. Oh, the other thing is, if you've never done this before, your girls or boys or whoever, adults, I did it. If you don't know this, you can get pixie dusted in the Magic Kingdom at the I think it's Sir Mickey's. It's right when you walk through the castle, right to the right before you get to the carousel, like directly across from Bibbidi Boppity Boutique. You just walk in there and you say to the cast member, "Can I get pixie dusted?" And they walk up and they get glitter and you get to make a wish and they put glitter all over your hair. And it's totally free. Like there's no cost to it. So Lindsay knew about it. And so we both did it. And that's also a little fun tip that I've never done
And
before.
were they excited when someone asked
Yeah,
them?
she was super excited. She was like, "Oh, I'd love to do pixie dust." And so she was like, "You have to make a wish." And she and we had glitter all of us over us the rest of the day. It was awesome. So
that's cool.
So sorry, I
Man.
forgot to say that too. So, okay. I just threw up on you and told you everything as quickly as
Yeah.
I could, but
It's a
got it
lot.
all, I think.
But yeah, no, it sounds like a super fun trip. It sounds like you guys had a really good time.
It was exhausting, and fun,
Yeah.
but, it's just interesting. You go a zillion times, yet there are things that you've never done before and experiences you've never had, and, it was pretty awesome. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds really cool. So, awesome. I'm glad you guys had a really good time. And now we're going to give our listeners a good time by going into our favorite segment, which is quacking up with the ducks. So, Jody,
alright.
what do you got for us?
Okay, so since we, just came back from Disney and saw the Disney characters, I was thinking about 101 Dalmatians. So why don't Dalmatians like to take baths?
Why? I don't know.
They don't like to be spotless. Yeah,
No, it would. It takes away their whole identity at
I
that
know
point.
it
Yeah.
does.
Oh man, I was thinking about just like road trips and vacations, and I was thinking, where do honeybees use the bathroom on a long road trip?
I don't know. Where do they use the bathroom?
The BP station.
Ah.
I
That's funny.
thought
That's
so.
high
Yeah.
humor.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. All right, well, thank you everybody for listening. Again, if you could please go out and give us a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts, and then also write something nice, hopefully, to us, and we can read it on one of our upcoming shows. And then go join our Facebook group, Disney with the Ducks, and tell us about some of your upcoming trips or some of the trips you've recently completed, and just share some tips and fun things like Jody mentioned with the pixie dusting. That's just really like a cool thing that I don't think a lot of people know about. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody, and Kwaharini.
Bye, friends.